What is up, YouTube, and welcome to episode 64 of the Chaos Daily. So, we're gonna continue on yesterday's sort of waffle. Boy, did I talk a lot yesterday. That was a difficult episode to upload. I didn't want to upload that, to be fair. There was a lot of talking. But I've got a lot to talk about. So, if you're interested, thank you for watching. If you're not interested, give it a watch anyways. You might learn something, you might not. I don't know, it's up to you. Honesty aside, the wings are done. Let's have a look at them. So essentially, I'm seeing the same issues with the wing sections when I print them. I get the same warping in the same places. It's not consistent on both wings. So where you would see warping on one wing, it doesn't show up on the other. And same here and here. Here there's warping here, but there's no warping here. I'm pretty sure the LCD screen is failing, maybe. I recorded a video today of me pulling the stuff out and explaining what's going on and what my observations are. And I will be sending that video to Siraya Tech and see what they think. And I'll be sending it to Peopoly so they can give it to their engineers and their engineers can say, yep, he needs a new LCD screen or not. All in all, I'm quite happy with the results of the printing. From what I've learned from printing, if you follow certain steps like I did with these root sections, these came out just perfect. Minus, a couple of minor holes. I'm not bothered about minor holes. As long as where the hole is, it doesn't warp. It's the warping I don't like. And also it's all this, see these gaps between the segments, like it fits in the middle and then it sort of bows out. This is also a printing error. Why this is happening, I don't know, because I'm printing them like on the tailing edge like this with a bit of a lean. For it to shrink on the edges like that, I don't understand that. It must be something to do with the resin and the resin shrinking or expanding in certain ways, depending on where the spars are located. I don't know, some more testing is needed, but like when the root section printed, this printed square, as well as this one. This one printed almost completely square. There's very little gaps in these edges here. So there's still lots to learn. I need a lot more to learn. And the wing tips that I printed yesterday, they came out really well. This one came out really well. This one, not so much. Quite a bit of warping, a couple of holes, but the edges were mostly square. A little bit of warping on this wingtip there. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, a little bit of warpage there. Where do we go from here? Because this is obviously not good enough to fly. On top of that, I've measured the weight of these. That's 213 grams. Let's have a look at this one. 223, 10 grams difference. So they're heavy. If we take a look at the fuselage alone, this has also got two servos in it, the motor and the prop, as well as the spars. And there's also the Velcro for the battery, if you want to count the weight of that. But let's look at the weight of this, 346. So one of the wings weighs almost as much as the entire fuselage, plus the motor, plus two servos. And this isn't even counting the ailerons or the 10 grams for the servo and linkages and stuff. These are heavy. These are way too heavy. Now, I know why they're heavy. In order for me to get this more consistent smooth skin, I increased the thickness of the ribs. So the ribs went up from 0.5 millimeters to 0.75 millimeters. So that's a 50% increase for each rib. So all up, we're looking at, I think it was about a 13 to 23% increase of weight on these segments, on these sections, depending on which section. Some of them had more of an increase because of their profile and shape, and others had less of an increase. There are other things that I can reduce the weight in. This back edge, trailing edge for the hinge is quite thick as well. That's quite solid in there. Also, the amount of material I have to contain the spars, that's also quite heavy. All in all, there's lots of places I can remove weight. Removing weight isn't the problem. The issue is finding ways to remove the weight in such a way that it doesn't affect the printing. Now we know that I can print these sections at the lower weight design and get a pretty decent print. I have a few of them there in my failed print bin. They failed for other reasons, but for certain sections, they printed fine. So it's possible, but it's dialing in the resin, the settings, the ambient temperature, getting all of that just right for the print. Needs a lot more experimentation. But here's what I was thinking yesterday when I was talking about these other wings, these other planes and that I want to look at doing in the future. And the reason for them is because I want to study the design of resin printed wings further, right? There's a lot more here that can be discovered. At the moment, I'm using a very scale aircraft, like a full scale aircraft rib and structural design methodology, where you've got your longitudinal ribs that run across the wing. They're full of holes. You can see there, so if you looked at this design, you would go, okay, that looks very much like a full-scale aircraft's wing that made out of aluminum, and you've got your pressed aluminum ribs that have been cut out with the lightning holes and stuff, and then you've got aluminum sheeting that then gets riveted along the tabs of the ribs all along. So from a design principle, they're very similar to a full-scale aircraft. Now, that works structurally. These wings are crazy strong. Like they're way overbuilt. Torque that I'm applying on the end of that, on the base there, to that wingtip, and we're getting quite a bit of flex. So the wings can support the weight of the aircraft and everything in them, but they're just too heavy as they are. So from here, I want to stop printing parts for the Albatross. As far as the fuselage goes, this is brilliant. This is fantastic. If I went as far as to print aircraft fuselages out of resin, and then I would switch to the conventional FDM printing for the wings using lightweight PLAs and stuff, I would have incredible aircraft. Resin printing fuselages works. It's fantastic. It's brilliant. Resin printing wings needs more experimentation. There's a lot more to be learned there, but I think I've got fuselages figured out. Like this turned out great. I'm proud of this achievement. This came out so very well. I'm just going to keep saying how good it is, because it really is. The whole design, everything, how smooth it is. It's almost as if this was a injection molded part or something you buy, not something you made on an FDM printer, right? There's a clear delineation between the levels of quality between this and something you would print on an FDM printer. So at the end of the day, we can say fuselages work. They're done deal. They work fine, they print well, the quality's great, they're nice and strong, they're very repairable. I've dropped this and broken it, and it cracked on here where the section seam is, along here, and then up away from the section seam all the way to here. And you can barely see that repair job. If I opened it up and you looked on the inside, you can see where it all looks wet and gooey. That's where I've just taken a syringe full of resin, applied it to the crack, put a UV light over it, held it in place, and it's repaired. It's a single piece again. Like, it's as if it never broke. So when it comes to the strength, the maintenance, and the repair of the fuselage and parts like this for resin is incredible. I would choose to do this over FDM printing any day. There's too many pros versus cons when it comes to this. And the weight's good and everything. So fuselages we can call done. That worked out. I like this. It works. End of story. They beat FDM printing. Wings, like I said, they need more work, and that's what we're going to do next. So what I'm going to look at next is doing some test articles. I'm going to design up a airfoil profile, a cord, and then I'm going to just do a basic, probably a loft or a sweep, probably a loft, give it a taper, so and we'll do a compound taper, so it's not just a straight line from one point to another. We'll give it a curved sort of face, so very much like this, where it tapers with a curve. So I'm basically going to recreate this in a very simplistic manner. And then from that basic wing shape, and it'll just be a short section about 150 mils long, I'm going to duplicate that part file. I'm going to make copies of it, and I'm going to try different things. I've already been playing around with gyroid infill patterns, triplicate structures, stuff like that. I'm learning how to design those in CAD, and then we're going to try different things. So we'll do one, say for instance, is just skin. How thin and thick can we make skin to achieve the strength to weight ratio that we need for that object? So we'll do 3 or 4 of them, going from like a 2 mil skin all the way down to a 0.5 mil skin with no internal structure, just the joiner for the spar. So we'll just bisect the object and shell it. So we'll do a few of those and see how they work out. Then we'll do others where I will put internal ribs, but they won't be like these kind of ribs or the ribs that you normally see. It will literally be like a sweep path around the inside. So you get like ribs, not like ribs, but like ribbed, like ribbed for her pleasure, little bumps, longitudinal ribs, bumps that go along the inside surface. So it goes from being 0.5 mil to like 1 mil thick, and we'll see how that works. We'll also do comparisons with this kind of full-scale structure, internal structure design. We'll do the cross-hatching patterns through it. We'll do multiple types of internal structure design and print them all, and then see how they work. How well did they print? What kind of strength did they have? How much did each one weigh? And then from that, we can sort of develop a methodology to designing wing structures for resin printing. So that's what we're going to go have a look at next. Yeah, so I think we'll leave it there for today's episode. More of me talking, I'm sorry, but you know, I've got lots to get through. We'll come back tomorrow with more on the CAD design stuff of things. I don't think I'll be doing time lapses of this. There's going to be a lot to talk about tomorrow as well. These Chaos Dailies are just turning into a lot of exposition, aren't they? Anyways, so as always, I've been Chaos. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Go subscribe to my other channel. Watch the video twice. And until next time, expect the unexpected. And I will see you guys later.
And a special thank you to all my patrons that help support the channel. If you would also like to support the channel, there's a link in the description.